Is there, at this moment in time, a regional alliance in the Middle East with Israel at its center, designed to work against Iran and to defend against Iran's possible military strikes in various places? What actually is in place at this moment?
Right now, there is an ad hoc air defense organization involving Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the UAE, and Jordan, with Israel and the United States, which is designed primarily to defend these countries, all of them, from an Iranian cruise missile, drone, or ballistic missile strike. You have to remember that after the Iranians hit a place called Abqaiq in Saudi Arabia and took most of Saudi Arabia's oil pumping capacity off the market, people came together at that point and said, no, wait a second. We have to have some kind of integrated air defense system that will allow all the members of this system to work synergistically to thwart another such attack by the Iranians. And despite the fact that the Chinese effected a kind of a détente, if you will, between the Iranians and the Saudis, nothing substantial has really changed in terms of the dynamics between the two countries. So Saudi Arabia, just a day and a half ago, publicly acknowledged the fact that they played a role also in defending Israel. I mean, think about this. The logic being, look, they know, as well as a lot of other countries, that this attack by Hamas was designed specifically to derail what was perceived at the time as a probable, some kind of relationship, diplomatic relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel, perhaps leading to Saudi Arabia's participation in the Abraham Accords. And that despite the Biden administration's effort to include in this negotiation process the creation of a Palestinian state, which the Saudis didn't want, but it was imposed on them. This requirement was imposed on them by the Americans. Regardless, the Saudis, for the first time, issued a remarkable statement acknowledging their participation in the defense of Israel. Wow, that was something I thought I'd never see. Okay, so this organization, as I said, exists and it worked. But it's important to realize that it involves the association, it requires the association of the Americans because they have certain technologies that none of the other countries, including Israel, have for detecting early launches and things like this from Saudi Arabia and intercepting communications, indicating preparation for an attack, whatever. So what this means for the future, we don't know, because I doubt very seriously if it would work in the event of an Israeli attack on Iran, whether it's preemptive, preventive, or in retaliation. Because under those circumstances, they may not, these countries, and I'm including the United States, may not want to get involved with being associated with this attack. Why did they get involved in it now? It was the easiest way of standing up to Iran without becoming directly involved, plain and simple. But the Iranians have been very clear that if their association goes beyond air defense and involves allowing Israel to land our aircraft to refuel or rearm, they're going to be hit. And these countries know that. So the probability of them allowing us on a retaliatory strike or a preemptive or preventive strike from utilizing their air bases for refueling or rearming is next to nothing. And I should include Azerbaijan with that as well. So there are some people who are calling for the creation of a more NATO-like structure in the Middle East involving the same countries. But whether that would have an Article 5, like NATO has, saying an attack on one is an attack on all, is, I think, a little bit unrealistic at this point in time. The governments in question are too scared of being locked into any kind of automatic response if Israel is attacked, or if any one of them is attacked. They all want to basically have the option to assess the situation and then come to their own conclusions as to what they're going to do. So a NATO-like structure, organized structure, I think is a ways off if it ever is brought into being. But what they have right now, this integrated air defense system, does work. But again, it is highly contextual. It just as what that means is it depends on the circumstances.
So essentially, you have already answered the next question I was about to ask you, which was, why has Israel not responded as of this time to the Iranian attack? And it seems that your answer is that Israel knows that defense, air defense architecture is highly contextual, as you say, and cannot be relied upon in the event that Israel responds in any serious fashion to the Iranian attack. Correct?
Correct. There's another aspect.
And therefore, the next question is, what is likely to happen now?
Okay. There are some within the military, and some within the government, and I emphasize some, who want some type of retaliatory action. The logic being, I've heard it said the following, that revenge is a dish best served cold. And that's fine so far as it goes. But let's just say, let's play this out. Let's say a decision is made to inflict some kind of punishment on the Iranians for this operation that they just launched against us. The ingredients of such an operation must be a limited casualty list, and it probably should not involve an attack right now on Iran. So what are we looking at? Well, my suggestion that I've made is that there are two targets that I think are very relevant and very doable. And what are they? First of all, there's an Iranian intelligence ship that also performs a command control function down in the southern Red Sea near the Bab el-Mandeb, the Straits, that's helping the Houthis direct their cruise missile, ballistic missile, and attack drone operations against merchant ships in the area, which has been ongoing. Its predecessor was sabotaged by Israel, stupidly not sunk, but damaged, where it was towed out and replaced by a much more sophisticated ship that's there now. I think that ship is a valid target, regardless of the casualties that are inflicted on it. And I think the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters in Sana'a is also a valid target. It hasn't been touched so far. The Americans, chas v'shalom, won't go near that. But I think we have the ability, either with a ballistic missile, like a Jericho series that has precision guidance, or with fighter bombers that will have to be refueled to hit that target at a particular time when it's occupied, not unoccupied, but occupied. I think that would be a very good first strike or or first response to what the Iranians did. You might want to include as well the Iranian Revolutionary Guard headquarters in Beirut to that list, if you so choose. But certainly those two targets down south would I think satisfy the need for an immediate and costly response to the Iranians. You have to remember one other thing right now. So long as we do that, we have to finish our job with Gaza. We have to finish off Hamas before we go on and do anything else. We can't let this linger. And this will play a role in our eventual decisive strike on Iran. We have to show people that we're able to decisively eliminate, not just hit, but eliminate their proxies. The strike down in Yemen checks that box.